The iPhone 6 is a bit of an enigma. Thinner yet bigger, simpler yet so complex. The iPhone 6 is Apple's 8th iPhone, and their best one yet. Welcome to my iPhone 6 review after a month of use. The iPhone 6 is Apple's most polished iPhone ever. Maybe not literally, as they went away with the chamfered edges in an attempt of a device that feels more uniform in your hand. The curves on the side wrap around and give you a great feel in the hand, and although it is a bit slippery and because it's so thin and bigger, it can be a tiny bit uncomfortable in the hand, but a case will solve that, and it really is a beautiful piece of hardware. Now, some people may be complaining about the bands on the back, and although yes, they're not quite as good looking as the bands on the previous phones, the 5 and the 5S, I've really gotten over it since I've owned my 6, and I don't really find it a problem anymore. Certainly I would have liked it if they would have filled that in like they did before, but really I just kind of forgot about it, and I don't really think it's that bad of a problem anymore. Of course, every new iPhone will be the best iPhone that's ever been out, but this is really a bigger jump than I think Apple's ever made. They're finally really listening to the people and giving them what they want, and I really think that they've fixed almost every problem with previous iPhones. The biggest thing, or one of the biggest things for me, would be the screen size. Now, I was happy with the 4-inch screen on the 5 and the 5S. It was definitely nice coming from an iPhone 3GS with a 3.5-inch screen, but still, using Galaxy S5 and some other bigger phones, it just did seem a little bit small, and Apple's finally made the jump. Now, the 6 Plus, in my opinion, is too big, and the 5S is a little bit too small. So the 6 is really the happy medium. It's really a perfect screen size for me, and I think for most people. It's comfortable and easy to use. It's great for watching content or texting or browsing the web. It's really a nice screen. But the screen quality is also really nice too. Now, some people will get on it for having a 750p screen at 326 pixels per inch, but who cares? I mean, really, I don't notice if it was a 1080p versus the 750p screen. They're all so sharp, the Retina display, and it's really a beautiful screen. It's got very accurate colors, the viewing angles are exactly what I need, and outdoor is definitely bright enough to use in really any circumstance, and I really don't think anybody will have any flaws with this screen. Now, if you put it under a microscope, yeah, you're going to see pixels, but in normal use, you won't. The colors are accurate, they're realistic, and it gets very bright, so it's an excellent screen and an excellent screen size. Now, just below that very nice screen is Touch ID, which works better than ever. Not only can you use it for unlocking your phone and purchasing things, you can also now use it in apps thanks to iOS 8. It is probably the most consistent and accurate fingerprint scanner I've used. You can do it in 360 degrees, it works flawlessly, and it works pretty much, I'd say 95% of the time. It's very fast, it's very efficient, and it's definitely better than a passcode in my opinion. Now, you can use up to 5 fingers or other body parts with Touch ID, including your big toe, which you might actually have a use for someday. But getting back to something more serious, the reason this Touch ID partially is so good and accurate is because this phone is so fast. It's running the A8 chip from Apple. Yes, it's only dual core, and yes, it's only with 1 gig of RAM, but it doesn't matter. It's fast, it's optimization. Who cares about numbers? Numbers don't control your device performance. It's part of it, but it's how they optimize it. And iOS 8 is a light skin, and this runs so fast with this phone. There are no hiccups. Everything is fast, multitasking, scrolling, games, everything is fluid, everything is just great, and this is really a fast, responsive device. When you're playing games, there are no problems, especially because the games and apps are so well optimized for this phone. It really is awesome using this. There's no lag, and it's just a really, really well-performing device. Another really strong and well-performing aspect of this phone would be the camera. It's got the new 8-megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture, with its new focus pixels and better panorama and super slow-mo and 60 frames per second video recording and full autofocus in video. It's really a feature-packed camera with a very nice OS, and the results speak for themselves. It's very accurate colors. There isn't any really dominant trait of this camera in my testing. It's very accurate. Everything that you see in real life is pretty well portrayed with this camera. The video is sharp, the autofocus is very responsive, the slow-mo is super cool. I actually have a video just on that, which I invite you to check out in the description of this video. The photos are sharp, the panoramas are really cool, they work really well, and really for me, this camera is more than I need. I personally would be happy with an iPhone 5 camera still. That's because I don't take a lot of photography, and all the phones I've used nowadays do have good cameras, some better than others, and really this iPhone 6 is the best camera I've used. It's just accurate, it's sharp, it's clean, it's clear, the OS is great, and it's got probably the best slow-mo, and although it doesn't have 4K recording, it has 60 frames per second with beautiful, super fast and responsive autofocus. So this camera is really just phenomenal. Now another slightly improved area of the iPhone 6 would be its speaker. Now it's always been kind of iffy, kind of mid-range for their speakers. It's still downfiring, which it could be worse, but it could be better. It's definitely louder. It's just significantly louder than the 5S. It's not the fullest sound, but there's an okay amount of bass, and it can be a little bit tinny, but it's definitely a nice improvement. An even bigger improvement over the camera or the speaker, in my opinion, would be the battery life. I'm very impressed with the battery. It's still not up there with what I'd really like, but it definitely is improved. Now, if you want all day, 2-day, possibly 3-day battery life, you go with the 6 Plus, but if you want definitely 1 day, then go with your 6. If you get the 6, then you'll definitely have to charge it at every night. I mean, that's kind of a given, but you can get through the full day, which is something I didn't always get with my 5S. I definitely got through a full day, and I usually have my brightness at about 30% because it hurts my eyes when it's too bright. So I definitely got a full day, didn't really have to worry about that, but that's about it. You're definitely going to have to charge it at the end of the day, maybe 5 to 10% left. And standby was also very good. If you go to sleep with it at 50%, you'll wake up anywhere between 45 to 49%, depending on the background activities. So battery life is improved and very nice with this phone. So at the end of the day, you get a very nice iPhone. For me, compromise-free. Now, a lot of people have been complaining about the bend gate. That's really for the 6 Plus, but I think that even that is definitely overblown. If you have a 6, do not worry about it bending. I've so many people ask me about it. It won't bend. And also the protruding camera, that's not really a big deal for me anymore. I have a case on. It's protected by sapphire lens, so it's not really going to get scratched. That's definitely something I wouldn't mind Apple fixing in the 6S, but the protruding camera isn't that big of a deal, a very small annoyance. So the iPhone 6, a beautiful, sleek, curvy, and very well-rounded device, literally and figuratively. The iPhone 6 is the best iPhone yet. It's an iPhone that's taken all of the previous iPhones, put it into one, and just made it up to date with 2014. Apple may be playing catch-up, but that's alright. Apple perfects things before they make it mainstream, and that's what they've done here, and I can't wait to see what Apple does with the future iPhones, but right now, this is a great option. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment, as I did take a couple weeks to make this review. I hope you did enjoy. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll see all of you guys hopefully in the next video.